One of my all-time favorite quotes is that imitation is the greatest form of flattery that mediocrity can provide to greatness, which basically just means that if somebody's copying you, then you're doing something right. But YouTube's interesting because it happens a lot on here, not just in the form of content, but also in the form of thumbnails and even personalities. Heck, even myself, I'll take some times from other people. If I think that they have a good idea, then I'll try to just like twist it into my own way. But sometimes on YouTube, I have to say that people toe the line between inspiration and straight up stealing. So we're gonna take a look at some of the most egregious offenders out there to see if they're copycats or maybe just inspired. And if you happen to appear in this video, don't get mad at me. It's your fault. Starting off with a bang, and we have I Spent 100 Hours in Capsule Hotels by a creator named Drew Does. He actually has a lot of interesting videos where he visits like the weirdest hotels and things like that. And so he had this really unique thumbnail in which obviously it shows like a bunch of different capsule hotels in Japan and gives like good perspective on it. And then lo and behold, about 2 months afterwards, Brent Rivera comes out with the same exact thumbnail as Drew Does, but he just horizontally flips it over the y-axis, changes some of the colors up, and then puts himself in there. He even keeps out the feet hanging out in the thumbnail, which I think is really interesting. But it doesn't end here. This was such a good thumbnail that then the Stokes twins, another offender who's going to appear multiple times in this video, end up taking Brent's thumbnail, which is effectively just Drew Does' thumbnail, and then they just put a little twist on it. It's no longer I spent 100 hours in capsule hotels, but it's the last to leave, because when you do a challenge, it's totally different content now. So I think this one's hilarious just because it's like two different people shamelessly taking like what I think is a pretty unique thumbnail concept, but it doesn't end here. Next up, we have a video from Matthew Beam titled YouTubers Control My Life for 24 Hours Extreme. Wow, very enticing. And this was 2 years ago. And then a year ago, Malik, a creator, M-A-L-I-K, comes out with a video with the same exact title and effectively the same exact thumbnail, just showing him in a jumpsuit with the tape on his mouth, Mr. Beast on the left. And he swaps out some creators, so you could argue this is inspiration and not stolen. But where it gets interesting is when you actually watch the video. So let me do a quick side-by-side. 3, 2, 1.
For the next 24 hours, the biggest YouTubers in the world will be controlling my life. Starting with Mr. Beast.
I challenge you to give your mom $10,000. Have fun.
$10,000?
Okay, so the first 12 seconds of the video was like completely ripped off. It's actually hilarious because this guy Malik is playing a video from Mr. Beast as if Mr. Beast sent him this video. Obviously, Mr. Beast didn't send you the exact frame-by-frame video in which he sent Matthew Beam. Like, obviously, you so clearly ripped this, it's like you didn't even care to change anything up. It's actually kind of impressive being this shamelessly copying somebody to the point where, I mean, it's one thing that you copy the intro word for word, but then I think what's really funny is that this starting with screen was also taken. Like, your editor couldn't even make an original starting with.
Will be controlling my life. Starting with.
Like, you just had to rip it completely. And then he had the audacity to watermark his video with Malik right over there. It's shameless. And he also had a sponsor on this video, which I think is really crazy. Like, if you're the sponsor of a video, I think you have to do some sort of due diligence into like the video that you're choosing to post on. Because the way that it works is that sponsors will reach out to you. They'll want to like put a video out by a certain day, like, hey, give you like a 60-second ad read. And then they don't like really care about what video it is. They just want to put it out. So I could put out a video where it's like Sambucha biggest poop compilation. And it's like, so long as I like do the ad roll within like, 6 minutes, it's going to be fine. But I feel like they should be checking it, especially because it's a video completely stolen from somebody else. So this is already pretty bad, right? But then on top of this, what Malik does is he forges messages from Gideon, acting like Gideon challenged him to do something.
Here comes from Gideon himself. Oh man.
What is that?
Hitchhike in only your whitey tighties.
Whoa.
And how do we know this? Because Gideon himself actually ended up talking about this. So here's a screenshot that Gideon posted, and this is what the DM supposedly looks like. And then on Gideon's end, hey bro, I'm doing a YouTube video asking for dares. Give me something fire. Not too crazy though. By the way, big supporter. No answer. In fact, he didn't even accept the message request. So I think all of the evidence points in the direction of this video being incredibly fraudulent. So during COVID, a creator called Charles the French made a video that got super popular titled The Problem with Online Classes, in which it's like a 2-minute skit in which he shows like these different scenarios of what happens in online classes over Zoom. And then 2 months later, the Stokes twins come out with a video that is quite literally the same exact thing. Now the thumbnails are different, and so you're probably thinking, Sam, they definitely didn't copy. There's nothing in here. Like, what are you trying to nail them on? You're just being like super aggressive towards them for no reason. 1 second. So we're gonna watch Charles' original video first, then we're gonna go into the Stokes twins.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this online class. Click present when I call your name. Jack? Okay. Peter? Okay.
Charles?
Present.
All right, so there we go.
All right, everyone, welcome to your first day of online class. Now, when I call your name, click the space bar so I know your presence. Andrew? Lexi? Alan? Very good.
Like, it's one thing to copy somebody's editing style. I even understand the thumbnail sometimes because there's only so many ways to convey an idea. Like, there's bound to be overlap. And if somebody does something right, you're just like, oh, let me, like, you know, twist it up a little bit. Literally stealing a skit is absurd, I think. But that's not where it ends, right? This is a 2-minute video, keep in mind. And in more than half the video was completely ripped. All right.
So I know this is a bit unusual, but I really hope we can study well. I want us together to try to grab the knowledge from this class. I want us to grab...
Basically making fun of how with poor connection, there can be a lot of issues with like understanding what's being said and it can be misconstrued, right? That general concept is what that skit is.
Now, I want us together to try to grab knowledge from this class. I want us to grab this...
The same exact joke, at least like do a different joke. Like if you're gonna take this same exact premise of the skit, at least change up the language and the dialogue. Like you would think that a script writer for a 3-minute video could come up with like something interesting where it's like a bad connection could lead to another misunderstanding. I always think it's crazy though when like the copied video does better than the original video. Like this video over here has 5.4 million views and then the Stokes twins got 6.5 million views. And you're gonna see that this happens a lot. So this thumbnail on the right is one of my favorite thumbnails on all of YouTube, and it's the world's longest lightsaber, and it basically showcases like a lightsaber that's effectively 30,000 feet in the air, like slicing open a plane, which is a really interesting concept. It makes you want to click in, right? 195 million views. And so what do the creative genius of the Stokes twins do? They take that exact thumbnail, horizontally flip it, add some text, and then put themselves over that guy in the corridor team. And I just think it's wild that it's just like accepted. Like at least recreate your own version of this. Like work with a thumbnail artist and say, hey, I like this. Can you kind of like rework this and make this somewhat the same? Like you're taking the exact same thumbnail. You're quite literally like using somebody else's work that he probably spent a lot of time on. And again, this video did super well for them. Not as good as the original video, but 60 million views. Like they made probably like hundreds of thousands of dollars off this single video. All right, so next up, when we have arguably the craziest instance of thumbnail copying I've ever seen, and it's for Mystery Pool. So it looks like Dangy Bros were the original creators, and you'll see a ton of creators like Unspeakable, Ben Azelert, and then Brent Rivera just copying and pasting. I mean, doesn't it get tiring to do this all the time? I know I'd get tired of it, and that's why I'm partnering with G Fuel, because as many of you guys are aware, I don't like drinking coffee because I don't like the crash, I don't like the taste, I don't like the jitters that come with it. And so for me, G Fuel gives me a cleaner energy so I can do things that require energy, like going to the gym or recording some really long videos. Okay, that's embarrassing. I just spilled some on myself in the middle of the ad read. I'm like a child. What's also good about G Fuel though is that it's sugar-free and only has 15 calories. Skinny. And you get 40 servings per tub, which is like 40 days of concentration, which is crazy. And it only gets better because right now is G Fuel's Madness sale, which is buy one, get one free. BOGO, as they say. Which means that in my case, you can actually get 80 days of concentration. So like 3 months in a single tub. Right here is my personal favorite, which is raspberry lemonade. So if you have a sweet tooth like I do, so make sure to take advantage of the G Fuel Madness sale. It's buy one, get one free, double the servings, double the energy for one single price. So go ahead and click the link below so you can check that out right now. So I will be right back because now I have to like dry off my sweatshirt. Does nobody care? I don't know what exactly happened, why people just like copy paste, but this is the same exact thing. Like this is wild. And then you go down, like even this little dude Vlad, he looks like he's 8 years old. He's taking the same thing. Adam B, again, I don't know who this is. All these people, it's like the same exact video. If I'm like a consumer on YouTube and I type in Mystery Pool Challenge, I don't know what to click on. Like in a way, they're kind of cannibalizing each other. I guess it's good because everyone's like gonna click on the video, like wondering what the difference is. But I would be really upset if I came up with a, you know, if assuming Dangy Bros are the original posters of this, I'd be extremely upset if I came up with a fire concept like that and then all of a sudden like everybody rips the same thing down to the color of the shirt. Okay, so I think this is a Spanish channel. I don't know where he's from. I'm just gonna go ahead and say Spain. But this guy basically copied the Ryan Trahan Penny series, but instead he did the Peso series. So right after Ryan Trahan came out with his Penny series videos, this guy comes out with the Peso series, in which he takes very, very similar thumbnails and he just puts them in Spanish, and then he chronicles himself over the course of 30 days until he ultimately finishes. Here's 28, 29, and then what does he do with the penny? He delivers it to Fede Vegavani, who I think is supposed to be like the Mr. Beast of wherever this guy's from. It looks like he's from Mexico, so that makes sense, okay? He's also looking to chase the rock, which I believe is something that YouTuber, Isaiah Photo was trying to do. So even like his banner is just stolen. And the thing is, nobody's gonna call him out because he's in Mexico, and so there's like a different audience. So you're always gonna see international channels taking from like other creators. Even US channels will take from like people in Russia or whatever. That's just how it goes, but it's just pretty funny when you just like actually look and think about what's happening here. Next up, we have a video from Dylan, who is the original poster, and it was titled, "I ate at every Gordon Ramsay restaurant." So what do we have here is a pretty unique concept, right? Just going around the United States and eating at all Gordon Ramsay restaurants. And we have Brent Rivera, who just a month ago came out with literally the same exact video down to the T. So the thumbnail is pretty similar. You can argue it's a little bit different, so we can call inspiration, even though I think that's being a bit lenient. But when you actually play the video, the intro is like exactly the same. I mean, it's shameless. Here we go.
Over the next 7 days, I'm going to go Gordon Ramsay restaurant in America.
Okay, so the first 5 seconds, literally the intro is, over the next 10 days, I'll be going to every single Gordon Ramsay restaurant in America. Just basically rehashing the same exact intro and thumbnail that Dylan put out. Now, Dylan's video did end up doing a little bit more in views, but what you don't realize is that this man's making way more bank on this, because that's a 28-minute video in which he got 4 million views. He's feasting. And even, the worst part, is that Gordon Ramsay himself commented on Brent Rivera's video saying, "Congrats, bud," but ignores Dylan, the person who actually came up with this video concept. So you can't win. You really can't win. There's no winning out here. It's an unfortunate world we live in. Okay, so we have this YouTuber named Wasil Daoud, and you're probably gonna recognize what he does here. He just wastes food. So you're gonna see, like me when I want spaghetti.
Spaghetti sauce!
And he proceeds to mash it, eat it, and then watch.
Perfect!
So that's his entire shtick. I mean, there's an entire 19-minute and 18-second compilation on some of his greatest hits, truly Mona Lisas of TikToks. And you would think that this would just exist as bad content on the internet. Like, this can't be copied. Like, who's gonna copy already bottom of the barrel content? Have no fear, because Topper Guild is here.
Cereal! Milk!
Like, even the accent, you're not whatever that guy is. You're white. You don't even have that accent. The accent's the crazy thing. It's like one thing to copy the content, but then you're also copying the accent. But that reminds me of somebody who copies another YouTuber, not just in content style or the content itself, but the mannerisms, because that's an interesting one. So in a pretty crazy turn of events, we have Topper Guild here, who is being copied by Brent Rivera. And I know I said I'm not gonna do shorts, but this one's just crazy. This is the original video from Topper, in which he's pretending to be a food critic at a Michelin or 5-star restaurant.
Take this notebook into a fancy restaurant and act like a food critic to see if they treat me any differently.
I have a notebook, and I'm gonna go to a fancy restaurant, act like a food critic to see if they treat me any differently.
Okay, so the same exact music, the same exact script, the same exact shirt, the same exact notebook, perhaps, the light blue. It's like down to a T. And I love how he has like his Lambo in the background, just has to flex it real quick. And then you're gonna see, I mean, very similar themes throughout. Let's just check it out.
I made a reservation at a 5-star restaurant and kept a low profile for the first few minutes.
I booked a lunch reservation at a Michelin star restaurant, and I kept it pretty low-key while I tried the first couple appetizers.
It's like you can't make this up. It's just crazy that this exists. Like, I almost think they're friends or something, and they're just like, hey, like, I'm gonna copy your video, we're gonna start some internet drama, and then we'll just profit off of it.
The waiters are talking about me right now. Since I took it out, they have not stopped checking on.
Since I took out my notebook, the waiters have not stopped looking over here.
Like, down to a T. It's crazy. But what if I told you that neither of them were the actual originators of this video? In fact, it actually belongs to a YouTuber named Josh Slavin, who is a travel influencer, and the original video...
I've got a notebook and I'm gonna go to a Michelin star restaurant and act like a food critic. Let's see if they treat me any differently. So I booked a dinner reservation at this super nice Indian restaurant in Hong Kong. After ordering the tasting menu, the staff came out and walked me through all the courses.
So this concept comes from Josh, and then Topper stole from Josh, and then Brent stole from Topper, and it's just like a web of thieves just taking the exact concept, 50% of the video at the very least, and just like profiting from it. And Brent's video got 40 million views. I think Topper's got 35, and then little old Josh, the creator of this video, got 6.3. The rich get richer. It's a shame to see. So this is Alex Warren, who used to be part of the Hype House, and a lot of people call him a David Dobrik ripoff because he copies his laugh, his vlog style. All of his videos are about 4 minutes and 10 seconds, which is David Dobrik's length is 4 minutes and 20 seconds. So clearly there's some inspiration with that, but we won't call that copying. But how about this?
So this is what it would look like. Jonah, I'm Pepper.
He even does that David Dobrik laugh where he kind of like cocks his head back like a Muppet and just watch.
I'm Pepper.
Like that like cartoonish laugh. And you could argue, look, it's just vlogging, but whenever there's a 4-minute and 38-second compilation of you doing things that are directly related to David Dobrik, I mean, it's probably because people think that you're David Dobrik, which you're not.
Just say what?
Like that little like last second like head, look at that. That, when his head goes up, that's not a natural thing. That's like a quirk that David Dobrik only has, and it's just weird that Alex Warren is completely ripping that.
My camera's about to die.
He even low-key kind of looks like him here. Like black hat, filming in the car. I mean, so now we're gonna play a quick game called Did the Stokes Twins Take the Thumbnail from the Original Creator? So here we go. The first one is Last to Leave the Tesla Keeps It Challenge from Mr. Beast. There's the thumbnail. And then right above we have the Stokes Twins. Obviously they stole it. I'm trying to think if they even like changed anything up, because you could see even that Pikachu in like the top left background, like you didn't even think to remove the Pikachu. At least change that little background in the back so it looks like a different garage. All they did was remove that middle console, like that tablet on the Tesla, and then they just exchanged the people. They couldn't even do the due diligence of removing the Pikachu. This is just, I would call this theft. This is not inspiration. All right, next up we have who can do the most dares in 24 hours down to the exact title as Unspeakable. So 2 years passed, they took Unspeakable's exact thumbnail. No, okay, so the only thing they changed was 287 instead of 247, and then they just swapped the face and brightened the shirt, it looks like, and changed the color of the scissors. This one's bad. The sky is exactly the same in the background. I think the blades of grass are also the same. So yes, this is clearly stolen. And then this guy, I mean, Brandon Ferris, he's doing his best. You know, he's trying to switch things up. He's opting for the tweezers instead of the scissor. See, this is inspiration. Shout out to Brandon Ferris. And he also said shout out to Unspeakable for this idea. So at least this guy's kind of, he understands what's happening here. Whereas these, obviously stolen. Now we have, I worked out for 24 hours straight and then working out for 24 hours straight. So, I mean, this one, like again, he took the same exact sun and moon concept. I think he actually took the exact left and right side of it. But what's crazy about this is that everybody's following suit, because it's like, if the Stokes twins steal, then it becomes, okay, we can do this as part of culture. And then we have like Dylan Latham and then Ben Azalert doing the same exact thing. Although I'll argue Dylan Latham's is obviously a bit different. It looks like Ben and Stokes twins are in cahoots because they're using like very, very similar things here. But this is a great thumbnail from Brownie, and you know, whatever. And I think this is like a fake bodysuit, it looks like. It's like he didn't even actually get shredded on the left. Next up, we have Facing 100 Fears in 24 Hours, and it looks like, again, him and Ben Alerts are in cahoots because this is quite literally the same exact thumbnail, just swapped with a different girl and maybe a little bit closer on his shirt here. But what's interesting about this, in addition to everybody just spamming caps lock Facing Fears, is that also a creator named Zong came out with, again, the same exact video with just a different girl here in a red bathing suit. Like, it's identical. Do they just share the same community? I'm a little confused here. I guess when you steal from the stealer, nobody cares. So you might as well. Honestly, a good channel strategy is to start up like a Stokes Twins dupe channel and just like you'll profit off of it because no one's gonna call you out for copying the copier. It's kind of a good idea. And then we have my favorite, testing viral TikTok gadgets. So look at this right here. We have FaZe Rug's really good thumbnail showcasing like something that has like a virtual keyboard or like a laser keyboard. And then we have Preston, who I didn't think would really dabble in something similar, but he actually, at least he changed the colors of it, but this is obviously a complete rip of this. But then you keep scrolling down and who do we have? The Stokes twins, who then took from Preston. So it looks like, oh look, it's me. It's like Preston took from FaZe Rug and then they took from Preston. So it's like, it's a whole little, you know, you would think by like the third iteration, there would be some changes, but it just looks like Stokes twins copy pasted Preston. And what's crazy is a lot of these creators are friends. Like I would wager that Preston and FaZe Rug are friendly with each other and there's probably not beef there. I'm sure he even like possibly reached out or even like wrote, let's see, I bet you he wrote. Yep, okay, so it looks like he tagged FaZe Rug. So I'm guessing there's no beef there, but obviously like the Stokes twins are some beef. So on our left here, we have Mark Rober's original Testing If Sharks Can Smell a Drop of Blood video, which has this iconic thumbnail where he's bleeding out and there's a shark coming towards him. So it makes you think like, ooh, like maybe sharks do smell blood and he's about to get eaten. And then we have FaZe Rug, who then takes that same concept. Granted, he switches up like the shark, but he still kind of takes the exact rip from Mark Rober and he puts out busting 50 mitts in 24 hours. So again, changes like the concept a little bit. I would call that more inspiration than stealing. But then look at FaZe Rug's thumbnail. Let's compare that to the Stokes twins, who literally all they do, it looks like, is they open up the mouth of the shark, which actually looks kind of goofy, but they got 8 times the views, right? And all they did was switch up the mouth and then they changed the myth to 199 instead of 38. So everybody at the end of the day, like it's one thing to take inspiration, it's another thing to literally just just rip it. So here we have a video from Brandon William titled Beat My Grandpa at Arm Wrestling and Win $500, and just take a look at the intro here.
This is Alan Fisher, a 26-time world champion arm wrestler. And today he's dressed up as an old man and will be challenging people here at Muscle Beach.
Really interesting concept. Also, is that Tyreek Hill? Oh, that's kind of crazy. And then we have FaZe Jarvis, who now has a video titled Can You Beat Old Man at Arm Wrestling for $500?
This is Derek Smith, the #1 ranked arm wrestler in the state of California. And today he is dressed up as an old man and will be challenging people at Muscle Beach, California.
Same exact concept, but apparently what's funny about this is that the guy in this video, this guy right here, is apparently the #1 or 2 ranked in the world, and then this guy apparently lost to that guy. So he got like a worse version of the guy that Brandon William got, so it is like a step down video. Brandon Williams' video did super well, 15 million views. YouTube itself commented on him, which is always a rarity. And then, you know, FaZe Jarvis is like, yeah, it still did numbers, but it didn't do anything like close to it. But just again, like shamelessly doing the same exact concept. It's one thing if you want to just like, you took inspiration, you thought it was fun, but then it's another to literally like rip off the concept completely. And that is not the first time that FaZe Jarvis has ripped off somebody. In fact, so Skeppy is a YouTuber who made a video titled I donated $10,000 to Bad Boy Halo to go bald, and a lot of people ended up loving this video, and there it is, $10,000, go bald idiot, and shows him doing it. And then FaZe Jarvis once again donated $10,000 if streamers shave their heads. I just think whenever Morgs copies your video, you know that you did something wrong, because he's probably has an eye out for videos that are copied multiple times, so he doesn't feel as bad about it. And so obviously Jarvis kind of messed up here by taking the exact concept and video from Skeppy, not even a month apart. Next up, we have a Dutch channel named Daryl Steg, and I mean, this is just, it's absurd, but every single video is effectively copied. So we have a creator named Phidias here, 2.5 million subscribers. I think he's American, but let's take a look. For instance, Holong Kanje Overland Opskapel. I don't know what this means, but you'll see him with like the neck pillow and the plane. And then Phidias, how long can you live in an airport? I'm guessing that's the same exact title. If somebody's Dutch, Hari, who's editing this video, is Dutch, so he's probably confirmed it at this point. And then even further, I survived 7 days on an island with only a knife. You'll see right here. And then right here is 72 hours surviving on an island. Maybe that's what that says. And it's the same concept, just changed up the font a little bit. But you've probably seen a lot of these thumbnails as well. Like this is clearly a Mr. Beast thumbnail with a credit card. And then here we have an air rack thumbnail about him like getting like facing his fears. And then this is a Ryan Trahan thumbnail. I mean, it goes on and on. If you know, you know. Just have a look through. It's kind of fun to look through some of these international channels. Another example of this is a massive Russian channel called A4. And if you just like some very popular Mr. Beast videos he takes from, and again, nobody's going to call him out, but you'll see like I went back to kindergarten, so 24 hours in kindergarten, and this is the same exact thumbnail. Bring it to here. We looked at the Tesla car challenge before. Literally same exact thing. You'll see the Pikachu in the top left as well. So clearly like they took the same exact car and just put themselves in it. And even the last to leave the desert island, which I don't know why they titled this one in English. I guess that's what they do actually, but same exact thumbnail, same exact island, no switch up whatsoever. I think the biggest takeaway is that this video could literally have been like 10 hours long of just reviewing thumbnails that are copy and paste from bigger creators or international creators. It just happens. It's part of the YouTube landscape. When you see it, just make note of it. Be like, oh, okay, this creator does XYZ, just so you know, so you have some data, so you as a viewer can have a more pleasurable experience supporting creators who actually make their own work. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more content, make sure to click here, click here. Otherwise, subscribe on your way out, and I will see you next time. Peace.